Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Coffee Club Podcast, episode 82. Happy 420 to those that partake. A holiday that we definitely don't celebrate, but some do, especially here in Boulder, Colorado. So have fun if that's what you're into. This one, we have a little bit of, we have a lot to talk about, to be honest. We have Georgia's Steeplechase debut, and this morning was the big bad Boston Marathon. But before that, a couple of things. Last week we asked for some DMs about coaching and looking for a new Instagram manager. And first off, just want to say thank you so much for all the submissions that we got. We are very, very overwhelmed. Definitely had to recruit someone else to help go through them all because there were so many. It's just like, first off, thank you for it. It's like every time we do something like this, I think we're always surprised at how much interest there is, and it makes us feel very special in a weird way. So thank you for that. And then after that, I kind of feel bad because it's like, well, we can't coach all of you guys. We're just picking one person for now. So maybe in the future we can find a way to scale this out to more people. But for now, still just picking one person, and we'll know within the next couple of weeks who that'll be. Same with we'll get the Instagram manager going in the next couple of weeks as well. But next,
do we need to get coaching certified or something? Safe Sport certified? Is that a thing? Don't you have to have a coaching license?
We probably need our Safe Sport.
I mean, not that they're here. But don't you need a license to coach someone?
It's a great question. You're asking a great question. We may be opening ourselves up to some
USAT
liability.
If you do.
Yeah, I think to be certified, yeah.
I don't know if you do just for random people.
I think there's levels to it, like a USATF level 1 coach, level 2 coach, and I think doing the courses is part of that. Yeah, we haven't done any courses. I think that was a given. I had some friends reach out to me and ask for coaching, but not for running, just for life.
Some life coaching?
Yeah, so that could be where we go next. I gave Joe Hardy, who's been on the podcast, episode, what was that, 3 or 4? I gave him some good life advice.
I think it was 2.
2?
I think it was 2.
Down the line, we could branch off into some...
I think he was one of the first guests.
Yeah, but this is the life advice that I gave him. I'll give it to every single listener right now for free. This one's for free. My next one, I'll charge you. This is what I said. I said, for many adults, driving is the last skill that you master. Don't let that be true for you. Which is not that profound, and I don't even know how true that is. But
did you make that up?
No, I looked it up. I looked up different life advice, and then I gave it to him.
Well, there's driving. What about making babies?
Making babies. I guess some people learn how to make babies first. Some people learn how to drive first. But I don't know. Would you say that you master the skill of making babies? I guess you're always kind of working on it.
I'm still mastering the skill of driving, so...
Take care of that first, and then we'll get to making babies.
Well, I still got to find out what the secret is.
The secret to making babies?
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave that one up to Kate. Kate and Greg will take care of that one. But so next week is a very special episode for us because we're heading back to Philly. We're going to the Penn Relays again. Doing another episode from Franklin Field, and this time we have another very special guest. I don't think we'll spoil it yet. I think we'll leave some sense of surprise.
We're surprised that that they're coming on.
Yeah. This is probably, by many metrics, this will be our biggest guest that we've ever had.
By far, yeah.
Easily. So we're very excited to do it. A little bit nervous, I think. It's always kind of hectic going out to the race and being out of our usual setting, our comfort zone. That is the studio here in Boulder. But yeah, so that episode won't come out on Thursday because I think we're filming it on Thursday. So then we'll get it out as soon as possible after that, Friday, Saturday. And that's also just to tell you guys that, we'll be at Penn Relays next week as well. And there's a bunch of cool events that we're doing with on OAC type stuff. So if anyone's in the area, we would love to see you guys.
We're thinking about doing maybe a Strava run. If we
group
figure
run.
out how to do it on Strava. Join the Coffee Club Strava group. We don't know how it works, but we think you can schedule a
group run.
So there's like a 50-50 chance that happens.
I think that would be the coolest thing that we could do.
You guys not in the group?
No, we are. But I don't think we're admins. I think
I know that
Are you an admin?
I'm an admin, and then I think Tom Wang maybe.
Maybe we'll get Tom Wang to
Well, you guys got to be admin. Actually, Ollie doesn't even have Strava.
I don't have Strava. Yeah.
So we're going to make you... I think you're an admin as well. I made you an admin.
Really?
Yeah,
All right.
I did. So...
There's hope. that we could make that happen.
If we can fit that into the schedule, that'd be like the coolest thing that we could do. Utilize that feature. But I was just thinking, like, Penn Relays is not like shit talking Penn Relays, but I'm just like, it's kind of a weird one to say, like, just come out to Penn Relays, because like you can't compete there if you're just like a regular person, obviously. Like, it's just like high school, college, and then a few professional races. And then like the times that we're doing it, some of our activities is just like 9 a.m. or like just middle of the day in Philly.
I feel like we're just capitalizing on people that already happen to have been going to Penn anyway.
They kind of have
no
to
one
be going
extra
there.
is coming to Penn, but there are already so many people going
Yeah.
that we're going to take advantage of that.
Yeah. And I will say, like, my vibe from Philly is that it is a pretty good running city. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do have a few fans out there, like just probably just working and just running and all that stuff. So yeah, if we can get you guys out to come hang out with us, that would be very awesome. We'll be there doing some events, as I said, and just trying to have a good time and a bit of racing as well, which we'll talk about more next time. But yeah, going there to have some fun. And then the week after that is we're going to LA. Is it in LA? Mount Sac?
Mm-hmm.
Sound running. So cool stuff coming up.
And we haven't talked about, we normally start talking about sound running events 6 months in advance.
Yeah, sound running events get a lot of talk from us. If we might have to go to our stats man on the Discord to see how many episodes we've mentioned sound running, because it's a lot now.
Jesse's just bloody rubbing his hands. I saw Jesse at Mount Sac. I should have been paying us for our...
We should. We're doing half their marketing for them. But
and that's when I found out that right after last week's pod where we talked about segregating distance running events, I found out that Sound Running Track Fest is a distance only track meet.
yeah.
Fun fact. 800 is the shortest event apparently.
And he explained the reason to you as well.
Yeah, he said a big part of it was that it's so much easier to organize a distance only meet because you need like one official, as opposed to if you throw in a bunch of field events, you need like 4 or 5 officials at every single field event that you have. And then he said it's so hard to like build a sprint field. Like you only got a field of 8, and like the chance that you can get 8 people together. He says you spend hours on it and like get 1 or 2 like yeses or maybes.
Yeah.
You just create a whole distance field.
Yeah, way
so
easier.
much easier.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's actually going to be sweet. There's free food trucks. Our good friends in the pod, the Creamy Boys, are coming out. New Zealand style ice cream. Excited to have them there.
We still don't know who the musical guest will be, do we?
Andy just told me this morning. Do I spoil it?
Is it
No.
like a surprise type thing, or
Well, I don't know who it was, so I guess it doesn't make any difference.
who is it?
Kyle.
The rapper
Capital letters.
with
The
a
whole name.
wait. I think that's an American rapper. Is there like a full stop after it? Oh yeah. This guy has I know one of
free
his songs.
concert and free food if you come to Mount Sac.
Yeah, he's actually pretty big.
Yeah?
I like not in our scene. I would say maybe like a little bit younger. He's more like a Little Yachty type vibe. Do you know who Little Yachty is?
I heard of him.
Yeah, he's more like his type of vibe. So wow, that's actually pretty cool. That's not who I would have expected them to get. That'd be hype.
I wonder who was in charge of choosing music.
Probably Andy. just putting out feelers, seeing what he could get.
No, actually, Jesse was saying that the event organizer from On, Ariel or some girl, has been like crushing it. Like he said the stuff that she's been organizing has been very impressive.
It is
From someone that organizes a lot of meets.
It is. That's awesome to hear. It is like this is something that we talk about all the time. They're definitely trying to do the. This is like the festival vibe, which is what we've talked about before. A way to make track meets exciting, but I guess it would be sick to like just be able to be there and take it in, because I don't even think I've ever been to a meet like that before. Was it like that a bit last year or not really?
There was one where there was like that corner, that little gazebo was like a beer garden apparently.
Okay.
This time they said like if you go to Mount Sac where that grass field is before the track, they pretty much said that whole thing is like a beer garden.
Just a party.
Yeah. So hopefully it does just feel like party. It's actually gonna be a good meet, I think. A
Yeah.
bunch of good people coming.
Yeah.
That's
It
how
makes
sound
sense.
running hype.
Yeah. It makes sense. This time of year is when everyone's starting to get going. Like the good US races are happening. Some Europeans based in Flagstaff coming. Everyone's just trying to get
there's a
going.
lot of points up for grabs. So you just take that number and then minus a couple of
A lot of
hundred,
points.
and then that's probably the World Athletics points you're gonna get.
What is it, a silver label meet? Or is it gold?
He's silver, I think.
Silver. So those meets are pretty good. You get good
Yeah.
points for running quicker than them. So
Well, Jesse says it's silver, so we'll see.
we'll see what it turns out being. Nah, that'll be sweet. So those are our movements for the next couple of weeks. Next week's episode will be out a little bit late, but we'll be in Penn, so hopefully we can see some of you guys there. But on to this week's happenings. Last week we spent a lot of time talking about a certain somebody's debut in the steeplechase, George Beamish, who, can I just say, one of our fans did the detective work, because if you listened last week, you would have heard that according to his World Athletics profile, there was already someone who had ran a steeplechase under your name.
Yeah.
It's a guy whose name is actually Joseph Beamish.
Is it? I thought it might be. Yeah.
You knew that?
I thought there was a possibility that it was. It was some guy who went to like some small school in Texas, but he's from New Zealand.
That's a crazy coincidence.
I don't think he's related, but like there aren't many Beamishes.
You guys must
Around.
be related at some point.
Maybe
But-
back a few generations. And he was a steeplechaser.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
So we have the Joseph Beamish and we have the Keith Hoare, a couple of alter egos. I'm still out there looking for mine.
Yeah, we hopefully find yours eventually.
I think I got the PR though, right?
I think it
I
wasn't
feel like
that
it was
quick
a 9
before.
at the front.
It was 9:20.
9:20 or
At the
something.
time on the World Athletics, which was from Joseph Beamish.
So you are the fastest steeplechaser under the name of George Beamish after one try. Congratulations.
Goal achieved.
Goal achieved.
Yeah.
Good debut. Stayed on your feet. No falls. Maybe got a little bit wet. I was watching a stream of it on the Discord, which was extremely choppy, so it wasn't the best. The main thing that came
Like
through...
a legal stream?
We'll just move on from that. The main thing that came through to me, which if they're listening, mad credit to you, but that commentator, I don't know if you heard about this, but the commentator was so funny. He would not stop talking about you, and like just the
Hey,
way
your mum and dad, I think you said that.
just I loved it, just like being your teammate, being like your friend. But if I was like say like the mum of like someone else in the race, I would have just been so pissed.
Yeah, I would have been annoyed.
I'd be like, can you stop talking about George, please? Like, talk about my kid. He's doing good. But
I knew who the commentator was.
I don't know who, like, it wasn't a voice that I recognized,
Yeah.
but he had like such deep knowledge about like you specific and like the OAC in general, and he was just
Really?
talking about it the whole time. And
Oh, God.
he was, the thing that made him really interesting was that he was also very analytical and a little bit critical of like your steeple style, because your steeplechase form, I guess, because he was like talking about like, yeah, this is his debut, like he's gonna maybe start off like a little bit like unsure and like we'll see how good he is for his first try type deal. So it was just funny to have that take. But yeah, just the first basic question, just steeplechase, how'd it feel?
Probably a lot how it looked. And I think it looked pretty bad. If anyone was lucky enough to watch it with a Runner Space account or whatever the fuck it was on.
It was Runner Space, yeah.
Showed the big crowds that showed up to Mount Sag.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced that Ritz thought Mount Sag Relays was going to be like he always talks about going to Mount Sag Relays when he was in college, like the glory days.
Back when it was like, a big deal.
Back when it was a big deal. And now, I don't know who this is offensive to, but Mount Sag Relays kind of blows.
Probably offensive to, is Mount Sag a college or something?
Yeah, but like the stadium is epic, so
yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with it, but I think since the resurgence of Brian Clay, I don't know if that happened like while Mount Sag was renovating. Brian Clay like took advantage of that and it just stole every single person from who normally went to Mount Sag, and now just like everyone at Mount Sag I feel like would rather be at Brian Clay.
That's so sad.
And there's just like 15 people total in the crowd, and it's a big stadium, probably seats like, I want to say it's bigger than whatever Hayward's called. Hayward, yeah
Hayward Field,
which only seats like 12,000. Like I'm pretty sure it's bigger.
Really? So it's massive.
It's huge.
I mean, I guess they were making it to go for the bid for the Olympic trials, no?
Yeah, they had the bid.
Oh, yeah, and then it got
there was
snatched.
some money under the table or something.
Yeah.
So that made it like a little depressing. It's just like not motivating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not motivating. I feel bad because they're like for the people that were there, but
it's just not the atmosphere that you.
It's pretty low energy.
Low energy atmosphere, and then also we were just watching some clips from Brian Clay, and that was the complete opposite.
Looked
where
like a vibe,
and they don't even really have. It's even more there because they don't even like have a stand. Like they have very small stands there, and there's like a billion kids competing there. So it's just kind of like a shit show where there's so many people in the infield and like out around like the track.
The best part of Brian Clay is they don't even really bother to like police it either. Like they don't tell you where you can or can't stand. Like you can just you want to go on the infield. You go on the infield.
Just madness.
Yeah.
So that's a little, I feel sad for Mount Sac because clearly they've put so much into it, but maybe it'll just take some years.
But I think like
for it to come back.
It's still a good place to hold to me. Like I think Sound Running if we get.
Like we're gonna bring it back.
It's good fields and it's on a Saturday night instead of admittedly like Thursday night in LA. Like maybe that's just not when people are going to track meets. Like
and the weather was a little bit.
It was like basically raining. And, like, really cold, so felt bad for people running 10K. But yeah, I went out right in the middle, like you guys told me to. Middle.
Was that tough? Was it nerve-wracking jumping with all those people around you?
Like I didn't feel like I was about to fall. It was not like scary enough to do that, but I definitely didn't feel like it was smooth and easy.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I mean, the running is so slow. Like the actual physical act of running, that pace. It's probably like, I think the first like 3 or 4 laps are like 70, but it's less than 400 meters. So it's like maybe like 71, 72 second pace, which is like borderline slower than what we run threshold at.
Yeah, it's threshold pace pretty much.
Yeah. And doing that in spikes in a race feels just, I don't know, not normal.
Yeah.
And then trying to like get enough momentum to jump stuff when my hurdle form is already pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I kept, I'm like significantly better on one leg at the moment. Hopefully I'm going to iron some of that stuff out. But I just kept ending up going with my bad leg. I just get there and that was the leg I had. It's like, fuck, all right, I'll do this one again.
Yeah.
And so that didn't help.
I'm no steeplechase coach, but when I was watching it, like you're jumping over the hurdles was fine, but the only, to me, where you would lose ground compared to other people were those steps. No, it was like the steps leading into the hurdle.
Oh, really?
If that makes sense. Like they would, I don't know if they've just like more practiced it or whatever, but they, you know, there's like little stutter steps that you have to take sometimes.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I was noticing it. But I mean, it makes sense because you did note that when like all the jumps that you've done in training so far, you did them at a significantly faster pace.
Yeah, that's true. I've done like a couple of 400s and a couple of 300s over hurdles, and I just kind of run like pretty fast, more like 46, 47 seconds maybe for 300 meters. And so I feel like I have way more momentum over the hurdle. And especially even like that was obviously the first time I've ever been in the water, but I've done a little bit with a barrier onto turf. And I think the same thing, like I'm just running harder up to it. And so I can get like more clearance. So I think my water jump was pretty bad. I just felt I wasn't like getting out very far. And I also like keep landing on the same leg. And it like, that ankle is not super strong or stable, it felt like. And I was just like, almost like protecting it by not jumping out super far, which is probably like the opposite of what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
So
get a full send.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely some seconds there to make up. I mean, it definitely, it wasn't a fitness test by any means, which maybe that's not surprising, running 840, but kind of nice to confirm. Yeah, I mean, I could have just gone to the front immediately and tried to run hard the whole way, but I feel like that would have defeated the whole purpose of like getting in a race with people around, which I feel like was probably more important. And then like I think if I do another one back to Sound Running, like Hillary Bohr and Bernard I think entered Keita, and maybe Evan, and
yeah, I'm sure like
Mason
the
Phil,
good,
I feel like should be there, which
the
is
best
pretty much
US.
That's the entire world's team from last year on the US side. So I feel like that would be nice to mix up with those guys as a bit more of I don't know.
Yeah,
the judge of the race.
I mean, like if you said what your goals were going into it, and that was to just kind of get the feet wet, pun intended. Wait, is that a pun?
That's a pun, yeah.
That's a pun. Well done, Morgan.
Good work.
And that's exactly what you did. I think you achieved your goals of just getting out there racing. Got another classic textbook George win for the fans.
That was pretty ridiculous. I felt pretty stupid, honestly.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? Not sprint?
Well, that's why I feel like I left this so late. I was like, the whole last stretch, I was like, should I? Shouldn't I? Like, will I feel stupid if I don't? Then I was like, this is like, this is literally all this is all people want to watch me for.
This is what the crowd's here for.
This is all that my fans want. So,
and it was like an extremely close one. Like on the stream, it was like very hard to tell who won that. And yeah, I guess how late the last steeple is. Is the last steeple at 50 meters?
Probably something like that.
Because
maybe 60.
It really caps like when you can start that sprint. Like you can't start it any earlier than that, really. So you got that win, and you got the feet wet. A nice, just more relaxed way to get into it. And then, as you said, only a few weeks away, you'll have a race against some of the best steeplechasers in the US and some of the best in the world. So you're gonna get that like real proper fitness test, because that's maybe the unknown is like I think I do agree that going quicker, the steeples will feel easier. But then also
it'll get really hard.
Also, it'll get really hard. Yeah. Like they'll feel way more of an impact. And
the first few laps might be easier, at like a better rhythm. But yeah, I can imagine the last couple laps get very hard.
Yeah.
Once you're pushing that much.
Mm-hmm. But then you'll just also be more in that kind of like pure race mindset. Yeah. So I think you'll get dragged along really well, and you'll just.
It was hard to get into that mindset for sure. Like just with the setting and. Like I didn't even want to drink coffee because I was like, I don't know if this is worth like losing sleep over.
That's a good mental turn the switch down a little bit. Don't drink coffee before the race.
Didn't caffeinate.
Yeah, that's how you know it's a real chill one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, didn't fall over though, so probably not the worst thing in the world.
Better than Evan Yeager's debut.
Did he fall over in his debut?
Yeah, he found the water pit last
time. But then he still ran like 8:25, so.
Oh yeah.
So you beat one box. You ticked one box. The other box still to tick. Is faster than.
Yeah, I would love to race. I hope he's there. I feel like he's just like the ultimate.
He's the man.
Steeplechase. Yeah, he's the freaking man.
He's the man.
You got to run against him.
Yeah, I feel like as well when I like learned what professional running was. Like he was like it at the time.
He would be, for people our age, I would imagine he would be at the top of many of our lists of like favorite professional runner.
I came to America.
I don't even know why he was so cool. He just like,
I think he's so good looking, I think.
It's freaking hard.
When I came to America, I was watching the Rio 2016 Olympics where he got second. And I was watching him, and it's just like he had a really cool vibe, and the hair, and definitely just the way he approached the steeple too was pretty cool. So I feel like a lot of athletes our age are very big fans of Evan Yeager. Not to be mistaken with Aaron Yeager, but
Aaron Yeager. Little Attack on Titan reference. Yeah. George probably doesn't get
George
it.
George has no idea what I'm talking about.
Straight over my head.
But no, that'd be really. I mean, like even when you're listing off that those names for sound running, it's just going to be a really good steeple. Like that's a really good list of people, even in any race. Like. So
your voice is a lot deeper today, Ollie.
Yeah, I got a tickle in my throat. I don't want to cough into the mic, so I'm trying to limit that from happening.
I feel like sound will be a good test of whether I think it's like cool or not, or like whether I think I'm like can get excited about it, because it's hard to obviously get excited for that one. Mm-hmm. But like I don't want to do an event where I'm just like can never get like this is sick. I actually think this is cool.
Is that how many events are in that? Is that where the 5K is at for you right now?
Probably not.
The non-excitement list?
No. Where's the 10K?
The what?
The 10K is off the map.
Yeah, that's off the cards. But I feel like if I'm doing a mile, I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be
a 1500 mile is very exciting.
Yeah. Even if I'm not even good, I'm like, this is sick.
Yeah.
My big question is for the next steeple, how are you gonna do your hair?
I thought that was good.
Wait, did you do the samurai?
Yeah. The samurai,
yeah.
I felt like I was sick with that.
You're gonna keep with that? Okay. I like that.
And the speed suit, is that just standard now?
I'm bringing the speed suit to the steeple.
I respect that.
I'm actually mostly just because that's the only. Don't want to make this as nice as possible. That's the thing I'm most comfortable in that on Max. currently.
No, I mean that's
So-
that's definitely. I mean, look at I got into the speed shoot for 1500 due to a mix-up.
Your balls were too
Initially,
big. They fell out of your shorts.
that's a problem for everyone. BYU. In general, what happened was when they were doing the uniforms the first time, they accidentally sent the women's uniform to the men. So the only uniform we could wear were the speed suits initially.
Oh, in Scottsdale.
Yeah. And then that's
The
like,
black and
well,
white ones.
not that I have no choice, but this is what I have to wear. And then since then, I really enjoyed wearing the speed suit. And then they've really developed the speed suit with the
It's very comfortable.
It looks
it's
sick.
really, really comfortable. The only thing I don't like about it is the cutoff.
Where the black starts.
Yeah, I
You
love
think
it
it's
if
too
it just,
high? Or too
yeah,
low?
but it also just looks too disconnected. I reckon like it'd look cool if it was just all one kind of, like it goes from green, then a really dark green for that bottom section. It kind of goes down a gradient. Whereas like the black cutoff, it just looks a bit like you're wearing half tights when you're not.
Mm.
The whole idea of a speed suit is like a whole one piece. And I know I spoke to the young people and they're really looking forward to putting that into like one old big kind of design. So be cool to see what they do in the coming months.
Once I start running well, maybe I'll think about the speed suit. But
Oh,
you got to be
man.
running. You got to be running pretty quick to pull that off.
I mean, you can
I was
pull it
running
off.
pretty slow on Thursday, dude.
But you got the win. You got the win. Does Jakob wear a speed suit when he runs the 5K?
He wears it for
Mhm.
everything. He wears it for the cross country as well.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the speed suit is very much so
That video of
present in the
Jakob,
5K.
Eating shit on the last barrier, but like when he was like 17
Oh,
at
yeah.
Europeans
Dude,
and the
that's
steeple
tragic.
kept coming up on stuff last week.
I'm pretty
saw it.
sure he was like quadrupling at that
Yeah.
championships when that happened.
I don't know why. Maybe is that the only? Why else would he do it? Unless he was already doing every event.
He did it. So yeah, he did it when he was younger because it was the first event that he qualified for world champs for. His very
Sure.
first world champs, he was just around the steeple back in 2017. He must have been like 15 years old or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even. When did he?
2017.
Yeah.
Well, in 2021 he was 21. So 2000. So 17, right?
Checks out. The math checks
Let
out.
me just check that.
He was 20 or 21 when he won the gold
Yeah,
medal.
good work. That looks right.
So what? 17. So
17.
like, dude, that's actually crazy. He
What?
was I thought he was younger than that, making a world team.
Well,
Yeah,
we
he's
can
only
we can
17.
we can double check it, but I mean he ran. That, I don't think that was.
Didn't he run?
He
52
ran.
when he was 16.
Yeah, he got for breaking 4 when he was 16. I think was the big one, and then the next year he ran like a real quick mile.
Mm.
But
Oh wait, that's what it is. Yeah, because Cameron Myers has run 355. He's 16, and then Jakob ran 352 when he was 17, but he broke 4 for the first time when he was 16, and whatever Cameron Myers broke, whatever record that was.
checks
But
out.
it is crazy because I always think he's younger.
I mean, he's still pretty young. He's still
bloody
pretty young.
Yeah, I'm not dissing that. I'm just
Pretty
saying.
sure he won the gold medal at
Olympics.
pretty young age.
Yeah, when he could probably be able to vote in America. So, be able to vote, be able to drink.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy. But I always, because he's so young, I overcorrect and think he's way younger. When
Yeah.
he first started running at the world champs. So
Yeah, he's a little baby. But speaking about the 1500 and mile, the only there was a big, as we already mentioned, Brian Clay, always a big college meet now. So there's a bunch of good races. Cool 1500 on the men's side. Cooper Tier getting the dub. US champ. I always forget that he's the US champ in the 1500 because in my head he's still like a 5K runner. So I mean, who knows what he's going to end up, where his future lies. But it was a good race. He got to race against what was it? I always fuck this name up. Faoud Masoudi.
I think so. He's
Who-
freaking good.
Amazing. To me, he's the best. He's like the top miler in the NCAA right now. I'm not sure if he sees himself as more of a miler or a 5K guy because he won the 3K indoors, but then also had the big anchor in the DMR. But all the good college kids, a lot of the good college kids were in it. Joe Wascom running some quick times. So it was a sick race. Grant got his shoe flying in the air, which was unfortunate. I think he might have got a little bit
unfortunate
tripped.
for him, but for no context tracking for us, it was
Great
It was a big
content.
win.
great
Yeah.
content. It was a good win.
Great content.
I don't even know how that happens.
I think so. It's
Maybe you get flat tired and then,
that's what happened. I'm pretty sure.
but then you run a few steps and then like, how
So-
does it get flicked up so high?
So I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Someone that's there, please correct us. There was a bit of a trip up on the first curve of the last lap, so with like 350 to go, and then it wasn't until the backstretch that his shoe just went flying into the air. So I think he kind of got flat tired maybe in that in the kind of tussle, and then I guess it was just
maybe made it like 100 meters.
He made it like 100 meters, and then it just goes pop, and it just goes flying into the air and got
right into the camera.
And then, I mean, with 250 to go, you're probably always gonna finish even without a shoe. But some people, like, if that happened early in a race, I think you probably stop because you can like really fuck up your foot doing that.
Ellie finished the 5K at, I want to say, Sound last year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
with
that.
Like a long way to go in the 5K, I think, and her foot was fucked.
Well, you guys are forgetting one of Grant's teammates, Kieran, has done some pretty crazy shit without a shoe indoors. I think for a 3K, there was like a photo when he won his conference, and then he had a massive like
his
piece of skin. His
foot was fucked.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So and you said, is Brian Clay's got a hard track?
So hard.
Yeah,
but
so he's
like,
running on concrete.
But it's like pretty smooth. Like it's not a super gritty one. So it actually would have been like less blistery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 336 with one shoe is pretty good still.
Yeah, I'd take it.
Yeah.
So
like the last 200's got to be hard to sprint.
Yeah.
How much would you give him if he had his shoe on still? Do you think you would give him a...
He's not going to win.
Yeah, I think also the fall before it might have hurt him a little bit as well. So I think he could be like, maybe he's not winning that kick down at the end, but I think he's maybe coming like third or fourth.
Like 35 high, maybe. Yeah, that's what I thought.
In that race. But who's to know?
So maybe.
Second.
Who's to know? Grant Fisher, I don't know. He can see. He's the type of guy who still like. If he ran like 331, I'd be like, oh yeah. Like I wouldn't be like shocked.
This is the thing with his time. Like you could look at it as it's 336. You're like, oh, that's good for Grant. You go on 331. You're like, oh, that's good for Grant. Like it doesn't matter because
I'd probably be slightly more excited than that, but I would still be like, that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make to me. It doesn't. 336 for me is like, oh, he's in hard training.
Yeah.
Whatever. If you're on 331, oh, he's in hard training, and that's really, really good. But it just means that, I don't know, man. Like, he when he does things, you're just like, I'm going to wait until I see him when he's in full Grant mode in the championship season. So
yeah, because, like, what's Evan Yeager's 1,500 time that he ran that 1 year?
32.
That's quick over the
32.9.
hurdles.
And that was back when, like, not that many people were running that fast in, like, these US meets.
Mm-hmm.
So... yeah, those guys know how to pop off. But, yeah, classic Bauman. I think, Evan also ran the 1,500.
340.
340, him and Kieran. But just, they're in hard training, so...
they're in hard training.
Who knows?
Well, Cooper T is also in hard training, so...
yeah, so he's actually in 329 shape.
They only have hard training. There's no other time of year.
That is very true. Either hard training or complete rest. But, yeah, so that's... anything else track-wise, or... anything else cool happen from the trip, George? Or was it just all business?
It was, honestly, it was rainy and cold like the whole time. And I kind of had a cold, so yeah, it was pretty average actually.
Just you and Ritz, huh?
Just me and Ritz, yeah.
Wait, did you guys have separate rooms or the same room?
Same room. We were in the same hotel as Oregon, so we saw Jerry a couple times, which was funny.
Did you have a comment?
A comment? No comment.
Yeah, no comment.
No comment. Yeah.
But
good
old Jerry.
didn't see the guys. Well, they probably weren't there yet.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
I was still like, think that we're kind of living in a simulation that Jerry's the coach of Oregon. Like every time, like when you say it like that, I'm like, oh wait, Jerry's the coach of Oregon.
You know what's the crazy thing is that Chris Alinsky is the assistant coach and Shalane Flanagan is also an assistant coach.
Still doesn't quite make sense to me.
No, because those two in their own right could probably get a head coach role anywhere. And you have like three alpha dogs just...
it's just crazy
that's wild.
That's the world that we live in, but I wouldn't want to live in any other world. So
nah, ducks fly in formation, baby.
Thank you.
It's a good simulation when
Nike.
Bauman is forced to train in Eugene.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
I know you felt sad that you weren't running on Priest Trail the other day.
Oh man, I did see, I don't know who posted it, but I did see a post saying that they were doing like some sort of session on Priest Trail. and I just felt really bad for their Achilles and
just for their bodies, just for their souls.
Yeah, just their souls.
Their
in
confidence,
general, mental,
trying to work out on that.
Yeah, psychological trauma from Priest Trail.
I feel so bad running on that
Like
stuff.
that trail is like, it's good for like maybe an easy run once in a while, but I could not run on it for
Once
more
a year.
Yeah,
I swear-
a couple of times a year I can do it.
I swear I've been there before where like this feels really good.
Oh, you start like that. It's like, oh, this
But
feels
then-
sweet.
At some point, I'm pretty sure they did something where they made them way softer.
Yeah.
And they made them way
They
worse
put like
to
a
run
bunch
on.
of like bark like this thick on it, and then after 2 miles, you're like
Yeah.
completely
They
set.
must feel amazing when they go on training camp then, man.
Yeah.
Well, like, they must feel amazing when they go to Brian Clay. And it's
Yeah.
Just when they step on the road, yeah.
Yeah.
But then how does Grant's foot, like, that poor foot's like so used to Priest
Oh,
chip trail, and
how
all of a
can it
sudden
come
it
to track?
sees the cement track of Brian Clay. His foot's just like, brother, please.
That's a rude awakening. But yeah, for anyone who hasn't had the pleasure of traveling to Eugene, Oregon, like two of the main running spots that you have there, they're one of them's Priest Trail, and one of them's Amazon Trail, and they're both like wood chip, like kind of bark.
Very pretty trail.
They're so pretty, but they get you really dirty, but also they're just way too soft. And so you feel terrible running on them.
Couple recommendations. Number 1, do not wear white shoes when you run on Priest chip trail because they will end up brown.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, don't run more than probably 10 miles on it because you'll regret it. And number 3, keep your mouth kind of closed because there's a lot of bugs around that area, and you'll be coughing up flies by the afternoon.
Those are some very good tips for Eugene running.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of Eugene, so
You're an expert. You've done
I'm
it.
an expert.
An expert on Eugene running. So that's how.
How else can we make fun of Bauman before we move on?
I mean, we haven't used their actual name yet, so
True. That's because we've been doing talking, not you.
Yeah.
no. Well, I'm just trying to behave. Well, I think my personal take on that 1500 is like, I don't know. I had a chat with like team. You know when you see results and you talk to each other and.
I've done that before.
Yeah, I do know.
You guys
I do know
what
that
mean?
situation.
Familiar.
Pretty sweet, right? In general, like that. Those races just don't tell me anything. So like it's just there's not much to talk about with it. I mean, obviously Coupeteer.
Told you
US
nothing you didn't already know?
Well, he's US champion. He's run 334 high. Like that doesn't tell me anything really because he's already got a great resume, and he's going into more important races later on, where you're going to probably be more interested in how he does. And then obviously Grant. The best thing about that race was Grant's shoe falling off. And then Grant, like dealing with that, like you could probably run 335, and then you have Evan. Like you can have those guys the next month run a 5K and they all run like sub 13 minutes. Like you just don't know. Like it doesn't really mean anything. But it's cool to see them out there racing. Good for them.
Yeah.
And
it's good for Cooper.
yeah.
I mean, he's still beating some really good guys there.
Yeah, he beat the really good college guy, Grant. Like it's good.
Yeah.
Good for the chatting. Good chat when we get back to Eugene and the chip trail.
Yeah. So nothing to say.
Yeah, that was good chat.
And then you just said nothing. That whole time you just said nothing.
That's my kind of whole full circle with it. Like when I
Summary.
started and said there's nothing to talk about.
Rather than say I have nothing to say, I'm gonna demonstrate to you that I have nothing to say across a couple of minutes.
Isn't it better to see an example of saying nothing about a race that kind of has nothing to say? That way you know there is nothing to say.
Yes.
Yeah, well that's why I did that.
Well done.
I think the listeners definitely would prefer that. Yeah, I think.
Well, I mean, I could just say, "Oh, there's nothing to say," and not say anything. But then I could give
that's
them an
what I'm
example
saying.
of why there is nothing to say, which is there is nothing to say.
All right. The
So-
only other thing that before we get on to the main event was there was a marathon in Rotterdam or somewhere.
Oh
And they
yeah.
won in like super fast, like 2:03. Honestly, not that interesting compared to this morning. The majors are better.
I mean, yeah, I have no idea how to comment on that because I don't know any of the results from it. I'm sure it was
It was just really fast.
What's
Like,
in
just
209?
yeah, Bigfoot. Right.
Bigfoot.
But I think in
Well
Rotterdam
done.
that's like maybe below par
really.
for him. Yeah.
Damn.
What's the whole average? You said below par, so I'm trying to think what's the.
About 2:01.
What's par?
Are you 2 under? 2-3 under?
2:03 is par.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And just a little reference there for those people that
It was,
love the
it was very
marathons,
clever
right?
of
Yeah.
you.
Alright, we ready for the big event, the entree?
Yeah, I'm so ready. I'm so ready to talk about Boston because we did such a good job last week at previewing it. I'm sure we had everyone just so excited
Just on the edge of their seats.
to watch the race that we just hyped up so much, all the big players. But For realsy though, another morning of great marathoning, which talked about it before, the big ones, Boston, New York, in terms of just absolute class races, part of the five, is it five marathon majors? Six marathon majors. So
hopefully 7 soon.
Hopefully. So massive. You're going to get the best fields every year, and this year was exactly that. You had a great women's field with our teammate Helen O'Beary. I was going to go down the list. I'm like, I don't know any of their names, so I can't do that. But we have
a Coffee Club TC member, Emma Bates.
Yeah. So we had Emma Bates, and then on the men's side, the big headliner was obviously Eliud Kipchoge, the goat of marathon running or distance running in general, you could say.
Drinks the goat's milk.
And the takeaway is that Boulder reigns supreme. I'm not sure what other cities we're up against, because potentially there is like, what if everyone else trained in the same city in Kenya and we didn't even know that? Then maybe that city reigns supreme. But in our heads, the battle is just between Boulder and Flagstaff, and Boulder is winning that one. We had Helen O'Beary taking the win on the women's side, and then we had both top American honors from Boulder. So
and Coffee Club TC. Scott Fubble.
Yeah.
Both on Coffee Club TC, both training Boulder.
Yeah.
Both coached by Joe Bossard. So Joe Bossard crushing it as
team boss, coach. Huge. Yeah. OAC huge.
Marathon team. I mean, OAC, I think it's pretty crazy now to think that Dathan has just coached somebody to a marathon major. That's crazy.
It sets the bar pretty high, doesn't it?
Well, just think about this group's 3 years old? He's now got that under his resume. That's pretty. That's not many people have that.
Not at all.
Pretty wild. And we were all watching it this morning, and I got kind of emotional about it because Helen, to me, the time I spent with Helen, she's very stoic and doesn't show that much emotion. And then seeing her at the finish with her family just crying, it's quite a amazing sight to see her kind of cherish that win. So it's pretty cool. And also Riss is just an emotional. He's an emotional ambassador.
Riss was all about it.
He's all about it, and he's got a lot of experience with the marathon and a lot of love for that event. So to have an athlete coach to that kind of height is something that I'm guessing he will cherish forever. And he's actually not come back for tonight. He's actually staying an extra night to enjoy the celebrations, which he should.
Change his flight.
I'm hoping that Nathan Riz is coming back a bit hungover. That's his alter ego, Nathan Riz.
Once he gets on the brewskis.
That's when he drinks.
That's when he drinks. He's Nathan
Rizenine.
Yeah, I saw that. Somebody commented Nathan Rizenine, and I thought it was amazing. So that's his alter ego when he's going to have a few beers.
On the dance floor.
Yep, on the dance floor.
Absolutely hammered after two Corona
lights. He's going to get back to practice and look a bit groggy, bit jaded, but he definitely deserved it. Helen, hopefully she has a lovely night with her family, and it was
first
pretty
amazing. Probably.
Yeah.
Why would she not just keep winning?
That's
literally just started.
Second marathon.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, doesn't it? You have Helen O'Beary, who is one of the best track distance runners of all time, moving up to the marathon. You have her joining the OAC and being coached by Ritz, who has already shown how amazing he is at coaching 5K, 10K runners, and this is his first opportunity coaching a marathoner. And those of us on the inside know that the marathon is probably what actually will excite him the most in terms of coaching. He loves all the events and the different challenges, but I think he spent the most time of his career applied towards the marathon. So he's really experienced a lot within that event, and I think he would consider himself an expert on the marathon. So it just makes sense.
I think the marathon can just bring some of the highest highs in the sport, and
100%.
The lowest in training, probably just feeling so having to feel so bad in training.
Yeah.
But then create pretty epic results.
It's just so special. It's so special. Just everything about it. I wish you could race more marathons, but yeah, you can only race 2 or 3 a year, and they're just these amazing, massive events. A lot of the stuff that we talk about that we think would be amazing, that would make the sport better for just distance running in general as track people, is already being done out in the marathon. It's just
100%.
Such an amazing event. All the eyes are on this one race. You have all the best runners in the world coming together. And watching the women's race, it was really amazing because it stayed as a pretty solid pack all the way through. I want to say when they grabbed the last water, which is what, like 40K.
Yeah.
There's still 3 of them together, and
5, wasn't it?
Was it still 5? Was Bates still there?
Bates was still there.
She was still there, the
just
last
started
water?
That's like one of
flying
the best women's marathon races you'll see.
Yeah, I
In terms
thought, I
of
agree.
impact, staying together.
It was probably the most exciting because, like, I definitely, obviously, we've seen Helen. We were talking about, well, Helen's gonna win, but you had 5 girls there that were just legit. They all looked amazing. They all looked like they were ready to go at any point.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the marathon so exciting. So.
And Emma Bates was doing a lot of the leading in the second half. After, like in the first half, at the beginning, she was, I don't know if the lead pack was like speeding up, slowing down, but Emma Bates was like pretty dropped at one point. And then she came back, and then she was leading a lot of it, looking real strong. So, yeah.
It's 'cause she doesn't get massages.
Yeah, she just takes more time to warm up the muscles. But yeah, member of Coffee Club TC, friend of the show. So psyched to see her put down another amazing performance. But for us, Helen O'Bear, our teammate, watching her like make that move in that last, like with a K to go, whatever it was, as soon as she makes that move and she gets a bit of separation, it's just you're kind of on the edge of your seat, like, because even though the gap was solid that she had going into the home straight.
That last K is hard. Like, it's not over, really.
Yeah,
especially
the home
because
straight.
she went, like, kind of at the bottom of those. There's, like, 2 little rises. If you've not been to Boston, or you can't really tell on the screen. But, like, the last turn is 600 meters to go. But, like, the 400 meters before that is, like, this is decent uphill.
Yeah, and then
she was moving her arms, and it was just like, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up, I was pacing, yelling at the screen. I was like, oh, because you just, like you said, it ain't over till it's over. And
that last straightaway is like 600 meters, so it's
deceptively long.
It's very nerve wracking because once you see the finish straight, you're just like, you're holding. If you're watching it and she's got that gap, you're just holding your breath and just being like, hang on. And yeah, today she did it. What was New York? That was in November.
Yeah.
So just a few months later, she's already racing another one, and she's got
pretty good turnaround. she should go for the all six majors.
Yeah, just
now
in a row.
Now that Kipchoge's just not going to get him.
You don't think he's going to get him?
Well, I don't know. That made it a lot harder not getting into it.
I think that's what we'll have to talk about when we discuss the men's
Helen
race.
should just go to London next week. See if she could just go back to back.
The double.
Dude, remember the last time in New York, she was wheeled off in a wheelchair.
She was she? I don't remember.
She was
that.
cooked.
I think she went
fueling wise, she went to the well.
I think she went to the like first aid truck, with, like an ambulance.
She was, and she finished 6th, and then you saw her finish today, and she looked like a marathoner. She looked like she obviously tired.
She looked very good after.
She looked very good after it, because that's the one thing I'm always so impressed with everyone finishes, whether you're first or in the top 10, the Americans coming through, they all look like solid. They don't look like they're collapsing. Sometimes you get those people, but everyone today looks solid. And I'm like, damn, how did you do that? How did you run 209 and just like kind of walk away and just get fueling and just try and sit?
I'm so in favor of super shoes for marathons, and also like continuing to progress super shoes. Like, as much as some people hate super shoes, I think, but like the better super shoes get, the more people can race the marathon and the less injured they'll get, and the more spectacles we can have. Like, the more marathons you can race, the better for the sport, easily.
100%.
And like the better for those individuals trying to make a living too.
Yeah. How much of a stack height do you think you need to be able to race at once a week?
In order to go to maybe like the On Gustav. At Kona.
Oh, what were those ones?
Like 50 something.
They were massive.
Maybe 50. Maybe equivalent to whatever Kipchoge.
But even those are banned now.
Yeah, can't wear those. So
it's what those goth girls wear, those type of shoes.
Yeah, the platforms.
The platforms.
I could probably run
the on platforms. Yeah.
Honestly, I think shoes are gonna be so good in 5 years. We'll probably all be running the marathon.
We'll all be marathoners. The marathon will be like the 5K.
Yeah.
That's how it'll.
Technology's just gonna be so good.
Yeah, but so.
I'm all for it.
I'm actually for that as well. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
But Helen looking great, and we should probably mention the conditions, because Boston is pretty weather dependent. We've seen some very different conditions across the last couple of years. Was it last year where it was super hot, or was that the year before that?
It was hot. It was hot last year.
I can't remember, but some years it's really hot and it's just like absolutely killer there. Some years it's snowing. This year it was weather-wise, it seemed beautiful. I think it was around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe a little more chilly, which is like absolute prime marathon racing conditions. And then it was a little bit rainy, which I don't know if that would be annoying sometimes, but I think if it's like a light rain, that's pretty good. But so it was a solid year. There was no tailwind there was no world records being set there today, because it is a bunch of ups and downs, so it's always like challenging the legs. But yeah, good weather for marathoning, so that's probably also why people finished like not passing out as much. I think if it's hot, then it's just like,
It's definitely true.
It's definitely a lot. Yeah.
it's just like game
on
over.
the body.
But an amazing women's race, and before that, the men's race was so exciting as well. Evans Chibet, I think it was, got the back-to-back wins, and I think he also won New York.
He did.
So
It's
he's
huge.
he's made a lot of money running marathons in America
He's doing well.
in recent times.
He's doing well. Good on him.
He's doing very well.
Is winning 2 enough to win? Like, did he win the series last year just by winning 2? Is that enough?
I would have to assume so, but
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I feel like no one's winning more than 2. Actually, that would be.
Well,
who would
what
be- who
races
would be
did
doing that?
Kipchoge win last year? Did he do Berlin? I don't know. We don't pay enough
I had
attention.
no clue.
He must have won London, I think. I don't know. But so what was crazy in the men's race is like the field was so stacked, and with Kipchoge at the head, there was a lot of hype around him going into it. Like people were actually like talking about his train. I mean, I guess you can never really, like, you have to take what like an athlete and their coach say about their training going into a race with a grain of salt. You never know exactly, but I'm pretty sure they're hyping him up, saying like he's been doing the best training he's ever done before. So there was no signs at all of him slowing down. But then
Every time it rains,
every time it rains,
he blows it.
yeah, this was his third loss, I think, in 10 years of marathoning, which is crazy. So every time it happens, it is like a massive deal. I mean, he's getting old, but I don't know. He's still,
He looked amazing.
he
at the
looked
start.
amazing.
Like, he looked.
Well,
so
I mean, he
smooth.
looked amazing when he got dropped off. Like, he
Yeah.
still looked the same.
Yeah, by the end, I think he looked a little rough, but even when he was getting dropped, he still looked very relaxed. But he missed his bottle at 90 miles, I think it was, and then instantly after that, started
Maybe mentally
dropping
he
back.
just like panicked from losing.
That's what I
it.
almost felt like, because I'm like, I've heard
Well,
of
how
people
can one
missing.
bottle
Like
Make
it
that
happens.
Much difference.
Maybe it's not a good thing, but like it happens that people miss bottles, and I'm not sure if we haven't seen like the statement from him if he's saying like,
He did say something.
did he say like it was the missing bottle, or did he just say he didn't have it today?
I mean,
It was just classic.
I could
very-
read it off my phone, but it pretty much just said like, this is paraphrasing, so it might not be correct, but he pretty much said that like he always looks to push like the greatest of human beings, right? And he said that he wishes that the day would have been the day that he pushes for greatness, but it just wasn't today. And then he congratulated everybody in the race and for all their achievements. And he said thank you very much from home and for Boston for all the support. It was a very, very nice
Classic,
statement.
very respectful.
That's
it was a
exactly what I would
It
expect.
was a statement that pretty much just said like,
No excuses.
you know, I didn't have my day today, but I want to congratulate my teammates. And he just said it was hard. He just said he said it was really hard for him.
Yeah. That's how it looked.
And honestly, like, it's interesting to say that the rain maybe affected him. I honestly think maybe.
Well, he was saying that because in London it was also raining.
The last time he
I-
didn't.
I
That's a
think
bit of a myth that
I
Kenyans don't like to run in the rain.
Yeah, I personally.
He said it was like air got blocked in London or something from the rain.
I personally think that it was everything before the race that made him race bad. Not bad, but not to his potential. Like the amount of hype, the photos, like all that sort of stuff. Like he's got that before.
I was about to say
But
it's probably every
Boston-
single race he does.
But
Yeah,
Boston,
every race.
I bet you Boston was more.
I-
Just knowing Boston.
More than sub 2? Come on.
But sub 2 was wrapped around him. Like Boston's an event for everyone. I think that sub 2 thing was like very focused on him running sub 2, right?
That seems like a lot of hype and pressure going into a race.
But it's all it's controllable around him. Whereas with Boston, I feel like he's got to do this, he's doing this, he's around all these people. There's all these media stuff. Like I think it might accumulate over time. And being in Boston, doing all that stuff, particularly Boston being the city it is with the marathon and with running in general and running culture, and how much of a status he's had progressing through this journey of getting all the majors.
Mhm.
I think for him it could have taken a toll maybe this time. This time it could have been maybe a bit too much because there was a statement saying that people were wondering when he would talk to media after the race, and then BAA responded saying he would talk to the media tomorrow. So I think maybe it was too much this time because honestly I don't think the rain would have affected him in the missing bottle. I think that might have been a factor. That's my hunch. I don't obviously know exactly what it was, but
Are you projecting on him?
am I projecting? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
That's when, because this was what you said about New York. That's what affected you at Milrose.
Well, I've had an experience like that, so I think it could affect anyone, right? But I also think he would handle that type of media and that type of pressure way better than I could because he's been dealing with it for a long time, for years. But I think there can always be a point where you hit your limit. and maybe Boston, maybe that's what happened, because there was a lot of media, a lot of stuff like even.
I just can't imagine that he
commentators.
takes any step without around a marathon without it being absolutely like mental. Like I think he must be used to it. Like he's been the best in the world at running the marathon for almost 10 years now.
Yeah, and there's one thing that was different from his competitors. He hadn't run the course. The other competitors had run the course before, which I think he went over it with a car, which obviously you can see what the course is like, but it's never the same as actually running on it. And the guys that he was racing against had run on it before, so they knew.
Neither did Helen though.
Yeah, I think he just didn't have it today.
I think the guys that he was running against were also just extremely good. I mean, the guy who had won Boston the year before and had won New York.
I think what's almost happened is that he's just set the bar so high that it's like it's probably normal to have three. Well, I don't know if you call them off races because his first loss, I think he still came second in Berlin in his first marathon. London was an off race for him because I think he came about 8th or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably just normal to have two what you could call off races in the marathon, which everyone knows is like really hard to get right. 2 off races across 10 years or whatever that is normal.
I wonder if he's still trying to win all 6.
I mean, he has no reason to not go for it, I guess.
He'll still go. I reckon he'll go to New York.
It's tough if he wants to. If he was gonna retire in Paris, I don't know if he is or not.
Maybe he can't retire. He just has to keep running now.
Yeah, because they then have to do New York this fall, and then somehow do Boston before the Olympics, and then win the Olympics.
I think he can just run forever. I don't know. I mean, at some point, yes, you get too old.
It definitely makes him more human, though, don't you think? Like
he does.
He obviously he's got that goat status. Drinks that goat's milk, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But it definitely makes him more human. And I mean, seeing his response and stuff like that just makes me more of a fan of him.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Top American battle?
So I wanted to talk about this because it was so interesting because unfortunately it was really hard to so Boston did do a good job at broadcasting in general. They didn't show enough of the women's race early on.
I agree.
But they did a solid job. Still, I think there's a lot of room for improvement because they didn't touch on the Top American men's battle at all. Because we saw the way it played out. Scott Farber went out. I think he was 2 minutes back from the leaders. Or he went out.
It seems like a missed opportunity only filming the leaders.
Yeah, at least have some cool tracking technology, which I think already exists. I don't know if they make them wear.
I mean, they're filming on those motorbikes anyway. Why wouldn't the motorbike just drop back for 5 minutes?
They just need 2 motorbikes.
Yeah, just have fucking another motorbike.
Yeah, let's get one more motorbike.
Because I think they have one with the women, one with the men.
Yeah,
and they should have just had another one with the top Americans. And then
you see those motorbikes in cycling races are insane. They're almost hitting the riders.
They do hit the riders sometimes.
Weaving through bikes and shit.
Yeah. No, it'd be sweet if they could find a way to do that better because, Mance went out with the lead pack, which is so awesome to see, an American that's literally our age.
He looked good too. Yeah. I thought he looked good.
And he was with them at halfway and just sticking with it. And, at that point, I couldn't even consider that he wasn't going to be the top American.
Exactly.
Because
they should be showing, we don't know whether Forble's dying or whether he's actually having a great day, but he's just running it differently.
Well, CJ Albertson got dropped and then came back to the group.
Oh, they have been about 10 times.
Yeah. So he was going back and forth, so that made me think, is he yo-yoing or was the front pack yo-yoing? I couldn't tell.
I think he was just running tactically. He was using the downhills and then chilling the uphills.
That's smart.
Smart move.
After those treadmill, he was doing downhill treadmill runs.
But yeah, man.
Was he really?
Dude, his training.
He puts bricks in his treadmill.
You want to hear one day? Oh yeah, he also does that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a decline.
To make it so hard.
What?
He doesn't have a negative 2% decline, which was what apparently you need for Boston. So he put bricks under his.
That's crazy.
I thought he did that to make it harder. I thought they were
I just heard it on the commentary. So
yeah.
He had a day. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Pretty much when Helen did that 25-mile run with Joe, the crazy one. Pretty similar distance away from Boston. CJ Albertson did a 24-mile long run at 5:04 pace or something with a 2-mile warm up and cool down, I think. So it was 27 miles total. And then that afternoon he did a 6-mile double at 5:55 pace or something.
My goodness.
A 33-mile day.
He definitely was fit. He actually, I can't tell you what place, but he wasn't that far back. He did pretty well still.
Did he catch Mans? No. The
I don't think so.
Mance was third
I don't
American.
think.
Who, the second
No.
American was
It's Mance.
Mance, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Mance? I thought.
Yeah,
I thought I
Mance
saw
still
someone
did
else.
pretty well. Mance didn't really die. I think those.
I think he was running like 6 minute pace.
I thought I saw
yeah.
another
Oh, he
name
did
other
die?
than Mance.
I mean, I think his graph someone was showing after it was like mile 25 or something, or 26 was
Mhm.
pretty rough.
Well, this is my question. Do you guys think that when we are all eventually marathoners, you're going to be more of a Conor Mance or more of a Scott Farble? Are you going to just
Geordie's a
go out
Scott
with
Farble, I
it,
can
or are
say
you
that
going to
right
go
now.
out perfectly smart? Because
I
Scott
think I'm
Farble,
with Farble.
yeah, he's done this like every time now.
Every time.
He's 7th as well again. He was 7th last year.
Yeah,
Was
Awesome.
he? He was
Yeah.
also 11th with 1 mile to go. Caught 4 people in the last mile.
so amazing. And every time it's at the point where you're like, oh, he's too far back, and then he proves you wrong.
But
So-
do you think let's just say the trials, when Mance and Farble are racing each other and there are no Kenyans in it, like no one setting the pace for anyone else, like who do you think is the favourite?
That's a very different dynamic, isn't it?
Because I still think if Mance ran with Farble today, I think Mance would.
You
be
could have
top
got it
American.
done.
Yeah.
That's I don't think
Like
I
Mance
can
taking a
disagree
way
with you.
bigger risk.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I really respect him for going out there and taking that risk. Because then you learn, I guess, a lot from your marathons. And like he probably has had, I mean, he ran 27:25 in the 10K.
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago.
Like,
No,
dude, that's
longer.
so good. And
Yeah.
he's in marathon training, and he's like, I have a lot of respect for Mance, and I think going out there and risking it like that, and he was there for a really long time. He would have learned a lot from that race and taken it to another marathon. Scott Farble, though, nothing against him, but he did the exact same thing he did last year. So
He's wise. He's wise.
So he knows
he's the wise
exactly.
old guy.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing. But then Mance is also learning a lot from that. So then taking them into the trials, it's going to be interesting to see how those tactics play out, because Mance is a guy that would push, for a longer kind of push in, right? Whereas Farble can probably, go maybe be more conservative and then go again later on.
yeah. It
Later
is. It is very interesting that you bring that question up, because it makes you realize that the Olympic trials is very unique. It's the only time that they race a marathon just against the other Americans. So it does change the dynamics of the race a lot. And I do agree with you that still head to head, it would certainly play out differently. But yeah, today, Scott Farble, Mr. Burrito, he got it done. And he showed that the wisdom prevailed. But
Yeah.
I'm on exactly the same page where Conor Mance, he's so young in his marathoning career. It's like, if you keep doing that every single time and you continue just gradually improving, one of these times you'll still be there at the end.
Yeah.
And then you'll pop off and then you'll have that big one. Like that's how you got to do it. And not that
100%.
Scott Farble can't continue to improve and get better and better, but it's like, man, it's just like he's still got so much potential in that event to improve. And so it'll be very exciting to see how it progresses over the next few years.
The American Marathon is going to be really interesting to follow in the next few years, I think.
So it'll be good. And Coffee Club, Track Club, top American honors, taking the sweep.
When do we get our checks for that, do you reckon?
They'll probably be coming in the mail pretty soon. Got to get Helen on the show. Do you think we can? I guess she wouldn't. I don't think that we can retroactively claim a win.
No, we'd have to get her on after. Like,
We
we
gotta
get her on
now, and then
maybe
the
for,
next. We'll take the next one.
Yeah, and she can have a little chat with us about it. And
We'll take New York when she goes back there. I wonder what she'll do next. Hopefully, take a little vacation.
Hopefully she goes back and runs a couple of halves.
Yeah.
she got the half
so good at those.
course record in NYC, right?
Did she?
Yeah.
Legit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hopefully she takes it easy. She'll be looking after. I mean, she just moved here like 3 weeks ago, so she probably has some settling in to do, and she can probably buy a pretty nice house now. I mean, she probably already could have bought a pretty nice house, but especially
Just
now,
from today.
especially now, she can buy a really nice house. So
Must
for
be
her.
nice.
Yeah, that'll be us one day.
Good
Don't
start
worry.
in the marathon.
That'll be us. So that's the Boston recap, which I think we did pretty well. Pat on the back.
We'll find out when
We paid
release
attention.
this.
We paid attention for once. Well, we didn't really actually talk about the men's race. We talked about certain storylines. We didn't talk about Evans Chibet.
But we talked about Chibet going back to back. We talked
Yeah.
about him in New York and
Yeah.
potentially him doing the 6 or.
I think we did
hopefully
an amazing job.
All right. Well, I'll take
And we
that.
talked about Kipchoge as well.
I'll take that. But that's kind of all that we had written down for today. Is there anything else that we want to talk about? Or are we good?
No, that's it.
Hell yeah.
See
You
you
good?
in Philly next week.
Wait, so when are we leaving for Philly?
Wednesday.
I'm gonna say Wednesday.
What's the date of that?
The 25th or 6th.
Okay, good.
Is that working with your schedule?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
All right, good that we got that out of the way.
I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Cool. All right. Well, as I said, next week a very exciting, special trip back to Penn for us. Late episode, apologies, but hopefully our special guest will make up for it.
Big guest.
Big guest.
But once again, thank you very much for listening, everyone. That's episode 82. We'll see you guys next week.